I was not gay until they told me I am. I was never the strongest kid in the hood, not weak, not soft, just not built like the other boys. Where their bodies seemed to be shaped for jumping fences, breaking into neighbors' mango trees, or playing street soccer for hours without breaking a sweat, mine seemed better suited for bruises. They healed slowly. A scraped knee meant limping for days. A twisted ankle meant months of recovery. I played the same games as everyone else, and I even enjoyed them, but somehow the injury-to-fun ratio was never in my favor. When I was younger, it didn't matter much. But as I approached puberty, things began to shift. Everyone else was getting broader shoulders, deeper voices, hairy legs. Me? I was still me, and my interests started changing too. I stopped watching soccer, the neighborhood religion, and started watching esports. I swapped out dusty goalposts for roller skates. I spent less time at the field and more in the library, losing myself in novels, history books, and even the day-old newspapers they left stacked in the corner. Then came my English problem. Hours in the library turned into hours online. The internet became my passport to places I'd never visit in person. Online gaming communities, YouTube channels, international chat rooms, all of it sharpened my English. My accent became crisp, my vocabulary a little too refined for a boy from my street. While the other boys were perfecting bicycle kicks, I was perfecting pronunciation. And then came my clothes. I wasn't trying to stand out, I just didn't want to look like everyone else. The hood loved knockoff soccer jerseys and sagging jeans. I leaned toward fitted shirts, scarves in winter, sneakers that didn't look like they'd survived a flood. In their eyes, I was a horse of a different color. But in their mouths, that color became rainbow. Now, let me be clear, I am not for discrimination. I believe people should live their lives however they see fit, so long as they harm no one. But somewhere between my roller skates, my library card, and my English accent, I was shoved into a category I never signed up for, and I stayed there. The whispers started soft. A laugh here, a look at him there. But whispers have a way of growing until they're no longer whispers, they're announcements. Soon the jokes weren't just behind my back. Kids my age would walk up to me and spit the word straight into my face. Sissy. Gay boy. Library girl. I learned to keep my cool. One afternoon outside the library, my homeboys, the same boys I'd once played street soccer with, approached me. "What's up, Miss Universe?" One said, his voice dripping with the kind of mockery that's meant to get a reaction. I kept my head down. Another one stepped closer. "What's that thing on your neck?" he asked, pointing at my scarf. "A tie for your boyfriend?" Still, I didn't bite. "Hey you, answer me." He nudged my shoulder. I told him to stop. He didn't. The third nudge became a punch to my chest. I coughed, breath catching in my throat, and dropped to one knee. He smirked. "That's right. Kneel. Like all women do." Something inside me shifted. I rose slowly, my chest aching, and looked him in the eye. The look on his face told me he thought he was about to put me down again. Behind him, his friends began to cheer. "Beat the woman. Beat the gay." And that was it. This was no longer just about me. This was a war against me, women, and anyone who dared to be different. I squared my shoulders. "Let's do this." They didn't know I'd been training. I joined a martial arts club at school, not because I wanted to fight, but because I wanted to defend myself if I had to. And that day, I had to. His first swing came fast, but I ducked under it and caught him in the ribs with a yoke kick. He stumbled. His friends fell silent. I followed with a lock kick to his thigh, a spin kick to his shoulder. Each strike landed clean. He tried to grab me, but I slipped out of his hold and sent him crashing down with a sweep. When it was over, he was on the ground, groaning. His friends stood frozen, unsure whether to help him or keep their distance. The next day, his parents showed up at my house. "You gay boy beat my boy and injured him." His father barked, jabbing a finger toward me. They threatened to deal with me if I touched their son again. My mother was shaking when they left. Not because she was afraid of them, but because their accusations cut deeper than I expected. "So," she said quietly, "is it true?" "Is what true?" I asked. "That you're like that?" I tried to explain that I wasn't gay, that I was defending myself after being attacked. But her eyes were searching my face for a different truth. I didn't think she believed me. University was my escape. There I found my people. Guys and girls who dressed like me, talked like me, gamed like me. I didn't have to explain why I liked scarves or why I preferred watching esports to soccer. Nobody cared, but when I came home for holidays, it was as though I was stepping back into an old prison cell. Old women would pull me aside, their voices low but their eyes sharp. "We don't want our children to learn bad habits from you." Men would shake their heads as I passed, some even suggested I move away permanently for the good of the community. It wasn't just words anymore. It was exile. Over the years, the abuse chipped away at me. It's one thing to be insulted by strangers, it's another when it's the people you grew up with, the people who used to share their lunch with you, the people who once called you brother. I started reading more about gay people, not just out of curiosity, but because I wanted to understand why being called that was meant to be the ultimate insult. I read about discrimination, about violence, about love and identity. At university, I became friends with people who were openly gay. They were kind, funny, ambitious, and constantly having to defend their right to exist. Then, one semester, a group of kids from my neighborhood who were studying at the same university reported back to my mother that I was hanging out with those people. It didn't matter what I said anymore. In their eyes, the verdict had been sealed. I began to wonder. What was really wrong with being gay? My mother had stopped asking questions. My father had stopped looking me in the eye. My old friends avoided me, so, I thought, if they've already decided who I am, maybe I should find out for myself. I met someone. We talked. We laughed. We kissed, and I realized, maybe they had been wrong about me all along. Or maybe they had created the version of me they feared, because the truth is, I was not gay until they told me I am. That was the last thought I had before the stone hit the side of my head, sending me crumpling onto the pavement, the voices above me blending into one, chanting the same word they had all my life.